How good does your French have to be before it becomes a real thing, before it becomes a real skill that you can actually use in real life? Some say that you need a certain CFR level, but I've always found that it was far too general and certainly too costly. If you want an official CFR level next to your name with a little stamp, you need to pay for textbooks, classes and a test, and you enter into a very dark side of the industry. It's one that oscillates between perfectly legal on one hand and obvious abuse of power on the other. Why am I saying this? You can probably figure it out for yourself. It's in the testing centre's interest to have you fail at the test and for your learning process to go on as long as it can. And since you, the student, have no way of judging of your own level, nor of truly understanding the test's true logic, you could be in there for the long run, and when actual French can be achieved in as few as 40 classes, and I'll link the video in which I speak about this in the comments, and in which the student who went through this process actually wrote, yes, it's true, c'est vrai. If you work with an expert teacher, of which I pride myself to match that description, we don't quite see the necessary French that you need in the same way as others do. Our job is to mold you into a high quality speaker of French. The best way I can explain it is to use an image. Imagine a huge number of door locks in front of you, a huge number of door locks. Each one represents a different social situation. You are the key, but you start out as a regular block of wood, just a rectangular block of wood. That's what you are. You're not yet a key, you're just a block of wood. The teacher still has to carve you into being a certain type of key. If we don't carve you enough, you don't fit into any keyhole. We want to give you a certain shape that will allow you to fit into most social situations. And if we carved you right, you'll understand how to carve your own wood later and continue to get better alone and fit into more and more keyholes. The native speaker with an education can naturally fit into the most precise keyhole with ease. But is it necessary for you to be like them? Do you have to aim at being this perfectly crafted little key with sapphires on it and engravings that goes absolutely everywhere? Frankly, I would say no to that. You don't need that level. And if your teacher knows their job, you'll have the right shape to manage most situations in a satisfactory way and continue to evolve alone. If they don't know their job, which between us is highly likely, sadly, if they don't know their job, you'll still be a sort of a gross clump of wood in parts, half fitting in the keyhole and extracting yourself with great difficulty from that social situation. You'll also not know how to refine yourself alone. I think this image works perfectly when we discuss the level you need in French. A lot of people believe that they can show up as a rectangular block of wood, utterly uncarved, and start forcing their way into keyholes in France or wherever they go, as if immersion magically made you speak French. I do suppose that by forcing enough times, at one point where you start to fit into certain keyholes, and so you do eventually start to trim off some wood to fit into the hole, but the result is always gross and ugly. So that's really the answer to the question. The level you need in French that's the level you need to acquire. It's the level judged good enough by an expert teacher. And it's the same question really as if you asked, when will I be able to jam on the spot with most musicians that I meet around the world? If your music teacher knows their job, they realise that you will meet virtuosos at one stage. You'll also meet very slow players. Their job as a music teacher is to give you the tools that will allow you not to disrupt the jam, not to disrupt the song too much, and continue to grow alone as a musician. That is how good you need to be. My name's Chris from We Communicate. I'm a French teacher. Find me at wecommunicate.com. I hope it was useful. Hope to meet you soon.